Howdy, Austin. My name is Emanuel Alejandro Delgadillo. Everybody knows me as Manny Fresh. Welcome to my podcast, Manny Sales Soirée.
Yeah.
Welcome, everybody, to Manny Sales Soirée. Today we have Hilton Kill from, I met him through BXN, so Business Exchange Network, some fun group that I joined here in Austin, Texas. Founded locally, right? And it's basically, we strive to be a local business, local small business networking group. So, want to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you for having me. Hilton Kill. I'm with Balarini Floors, and I like to talk.
All right, that's good. Came to the right spot then. So, where's that Balarini come from? What's the name from?
Balarini is my grandma's name.
Okay.
Yes, so it's an Italian name. We come from a long generation of Italians that moved into Brazil.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then I have Italian citizenship as well.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so I'm Brazilian and Italian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then, so the Portuguese, the Brazilian descent, is it your grandfather or no?
Well, we are basically, the migration of the Italian family was in like 1906, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
But from my father's side is Germany. So
okay.
My family tree is fully European.
Okay.
But I've been in Brazil. Well, I was born in Brazil in the 70s.
Okay.
So I'm almost 50 years old.
Yeah.
This decade is my decade of being half a century. So.
Well, very interesting background. I try to make mine interesting. I'm Mexican, so I usually say I'm half Spaniard and half Aztec. And everybody's like, oh, that's cool. Well, I think every Mexican's that. Spain conquered Mexico, so we do have indigenous Mexican in us, and obviously, that. But yeah, cool. So tell me a little bit about your business. So,
okay, the business itself started in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
So my uncle set it up over here. But we come from a family history in the wood industry, right?
Okay.
So back in 1968, I wasn't even born yet.
Mm-hmm.
This same uncle started just like milling wood, and selling to the local market in Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
So that grew, through the 80s and 90s. And we used to have like 14 factories at the time before 2008 crash. And, so like flooring business, there were like just lumber, just like plywood business. There was bed framing business. There was all sorts of wood products. We've manufactured about everything in wood. And over here, I was running my business in Brazil, which was distribution of wood flooring, because my family still has a factory.
Oh, okay.
So my cousin, and I was like buying lumber. He was manufacturing it for me, the flooring, and then I was selling into the Brazilian market as distribution, like selling to retailers. So my uncle saw what I was doing there, and then he wanted to start the thing over here as well. So he came over here to start like a distribution business. But things were not like properly working, and then he invited me over. So I came over, I look at the business like, US is a little bit different.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to invest a lot of money to be a distributor. It's up to you. You're going to invest at least 8 times more than what you have invested. Right now. It's like 8 times more. So it's, there's a lot of money that he would have to invest. And it's like, okay, so what would be the solutions? Like move it to a retail instead of distribution. So that way you can focus on the homeowner, the architects, and the custom home builders and the builders in general. So, and then he said like, do you want to run that? And I was like, let me talk to the family and see.
Yeah.
So we went and talked to the family, and then here we are.
All right. And then you started here, didn't you live in Florida first and something happened in Florida?
No, the thing is, we are supposed to be running the same structure that we had over here in Florida, but because of that, between that period of time where me thinking about coming or not, and then another year passed, almost a year passed, and it's like, well, things went really south in Austin, so we didn't know what was going on. So and then, okay, let me go and have a look what's going on. And then we found out that the business partner over here wasn't being very honest. So, and that's why he wasn't working. And then we, things that it's not really fun to talk about, but, it happened. So, and then we end up parting ways with that person. And instead of me going back to Florida to run the same structure there, I just ran the structure over here. So,
Gotcha. Okay.
And then we did open up a front in Florida with a salesperson that was doing exactly what we're doing here, but without a showroom, because over here we had a showroom.
Okay.
So, but then the pandemic, happened, and then okay, my cousin was living in Miami at the time, and I'm flying back. I'm going back to Brazil. And so we had to, and I wouldn't be able to run, both locations with a pandemic. I would not be able to travel because travel was limited and whatnot. So, and then I'll just stay over here running. So, the Balarini name, we put the DBA name into the company after we were able to part ways with these other business partner that we had.
Yeah.
So that moment, we then decided to get a more retail name to it, something that would, resonate, quality,
Yes.
Luxury. So Italian name normally does that because of the fashion industry and whatnot,
Yes.
and it is within the realm of our family, right? So. It wasn't a difficult decision, and it is a homage to my family tree, right? So giving that name because it is in my blood, and it is a beautiful name. I like it.
Yeah.
Difficult to sound out, and some people go "How do you say that?" I'm it's ballerina. So no, it's Balarini. It's an Italian name, but yeah, I mean it is what it is, in the end of the day. So we're here with a, flooring business. And
Yeah. So how long you been in business then?
I moved in 2016, but the company was open in 2014. Okay. So April now it's going to be 11 years.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah.
And then based in Austin right now. And then how long you been in Austin then? Same time?
Yeah, I moved in. I've been here just about 8 years. So I moved in October 2016. I was in and out. I mean, you know how it is to, move to a different country. Yeah. So visa, the legality of everything. So we're in and out, really working things, visa processes and whatnot, green card process. It takes a long time. It takes a lot of money.
Yeah.
But yeah, so.
Yeah. Awesome. So I got here in June of 2016. So we're
mine was a little later than that. Yeah. Okay. October.
I was fortunate enough. You talk about the process. I was fortunate enough that I was 9 years old, but my dad was already naturalized, so it was very easy process for us. We got our, I'm assuming, our permanent resident card right away. So we were able to come in. So fortunately, for us, we were not able to, come in and out too much, But we landed in California, and then the dad told us that it's beautiful in Iowa, that the gray winters are so gorgeous. So we ended up in Iowa in the Midwest.
Prettier than California.
Yes, and boy, I think my first winter, my brother forgot to pick me up, and I walked home and I was crying. My ears were frozen because it's harsh winters,
Yeah, it's very cold.
We complain about right now 20 degrees, 20, 30 degrees, and right now they're in the 8 degrees. So But anyway, I was looking at your website, and I'm very picky when I invite people to the podcast, because I want to make sure that it resonates with not just Infinite Resources and amplify what we're doing, but also our company culture and who we are as like human being. I guess I'm gonna be like your friend Tim and go a little deep right now. Yeah. But I love what you put on your website. You put transparent communication and long-term relationships. Building a lasting relationship with our customers is the core of what we do. Yeah. And that is very, very true. We're in this day and age where, it's a lot of social media. It's not real. There's a lot of marketing, which is great. Gives you a very good brand awareness of, they know who you are, that you exist. But the true core values, it's transparent communication and long-lasting relationships. I come from a background of sales all my life, from a used car salesman, which is a very negative condensation here in the United States, and especially
anywhere in the world.
Anywhere, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But one thing that I learned throughout my career is like what not to do. So when I saw a car salesman treat their customer this way, I'm like, oh, don't do that, or don't dress like that, or do this, or, say hi, be cordial, smile, shake their hands. We had 2-hour conversations. Hopefully we left some content for today, but the old fashioned stuff, the old things that truly matter,
I think, yeah, the thing is, some people ask me what makes our company different. Mm-hmm. And it gets to that point, which is we pick up the phone. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What I mean is like, we don't pick up the phone for the first time, because the first time everybody picks up the phone. Mm-hmm. It's the second time, or after the fact.
Yeah.
So somebody calls me after the sale is being done, the installation's been completed, the payment has been received. Mm-hmm. They call me a week later, I pick up the phone. Mm-hmm. Sometimes all they want is like, I want to do something else as well. Mm-hmm. Or I have this other property that I need, to address some issues with the flooring. Mm-hmm. Most of the times that's what it is. Mm-hmm. And I get like first contact, customers that I go like, can you get this floor? Because I want to put that in the office that I had carpet before. And I regret not doing it at the time that I did. Mm-hmm. I did like 6 months ago. It's a brand new carpet, but I want this floor to continue throughout. And I was like, what happened to your flooring contractor? They are not picking up the phone. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and then, we pick up the phone. It's like, the whole company is like me, Dylan, and Carol. If you interview them separately and ask what makes you different, they will say, we pick up the phone.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that we are perfect in every way. It's like sometimes we might have projects that it goes wrong, because that's the nature of its construction.
Yes.
Not everything is smooth.
It's right? Man-made.
So yeah. Exactly. So it happens. Yeah. But we pick up the phone. It doesn't matter. We will pick up the phone, going well or not going well. Mm-hmm. If we had an installation that it went not well, and there was a little bit of a conflict with the customer, because it does happen, right? And that not every time is perfect. We still, when the customer calls 3 weeks later, a month later, we pick up the phone. Mm-hmm. And then we talk to them. We save every single customer's contact in our phone. And it's not for us to ghost them, because that's what the other companies do. Yeah. Most of them. Not all of them. Yeah. But most, because I do get a lot of calls. Yeah. It's just because, when they call, I would be able to say, hey, Mike, how are you doing? Mm-hmm. And they go like, wow. Yeah, well, I'm great. So the other day, actually Mike is his name. Mm-hmm. The other day he was like, the builder said that the installation had been done in this lab of the house. It's an old house, pier and beam, so it was like a restoration kind of thing, and it was just like a part of the kitchen that needed it because there was like some water damage. So it's like, have you done the installations? Yes. Okay. So I can trust. I can just install the wood. So I installed the wood, and the floor is all like turning and buckling.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, so customer calls me because the builder is not responding. The builder responds to me,
Yeah.
because I still talk to him, but it's not responding to the customer. So, oh, he died for me and I don't want to talk to him. I was like, don't worry about it. I'll get you the wood and we can replace it. Mm-hmm. Even though it's not our fault, but it is because I trusted somebody that I shouldn't.
Yeah.
So I bought extra wood. It's been 2 years and we still haven't done it because I'm waiting on the customer to say when you want us to come and do it. It's like, and then pandemic and after pandemic and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And then he called me just like 3 weeks ago, just before Christmas. I'm thinking, not doing it at all. I just, keeping the way it is. And it's like, we have the wood.
Yeah.
We bought the wood. Let me know what you want to do.
Yeah.
It's fine. So if you want me to come and just resand and refinish the floor, it's fine. Also, I can do that. So it's like, but he will call me and I will pick up the phone. Mm-hmm. And it's a problem. And it's going to cost me money. It's already cost me a little bit of money. It's going to cost me more money, but I'll pick up the phone. So communication and transparency and honesty, it's very important. Yeah. And all of that, if you do not have that, for your company, you're not going to go far. Yeah. For example, the other guy that used to be partners with us, he's not in Austin anymore. Mm-hmm. He moved to Dallas. Now he's in a different area. Yeah. So new customers and new people for him to not be so honest with. Yeah. So we are here still and going, and we are gonna, our plan is to grow. Good. In more locations and whatnot, but the idea is to really keep it honest and keep it the quality of work and so on.
Yeah, I think that's the first thing that's on your website when it talks about you and your core values is the exceptional customer service, and that kind of resonates, with me my whole life and with us with Infinite Resources and Amplified. That's all you need to do. Like you talk about the other business partner, right? He's trying to get the quick sale and not being honest and go on with the next, but like you say, we're here to build long-lasting relationships. Obviously you've been talking to this gentleman for about 2 years about getting the floor done. Obviously I'm sure he remembers that, and when he needs a referral or send somebody your way, I mean, there's nobody else that he can think of but some like you. So okay, so tell me a little bit on the pandemic. How did that affect you as in business?
Well, what happened is during that time we had a showroom like Central Austin area, on 7th Street. So, and we were looking for a place to relocate because we had the warehouse where we kept inventory. Remember we started as a distribution, so we still had a lot of inventory still. And then I was looking for a place where we would have a warehouse and the showroom in one place, so to pay only one rent. Mm-hmm. And then I had given a notice to move. The place where we were. Yeah. That was December, because I had to give like 2 months notice, based on my contract. Yeah. So December 28th, because I would be moving out February 28th. So what happened was, January 15th, COVID news, right? And, March shut down. But because of all the COVID talks and whatnot, it's going to hit over here. It's not going to get to the, hot states where nobody knew anything about, that. So, and it was like, can I extend another 10, 15 days? And I just moved out to instead of renting a new place, I moved out all of the samples to a storage unit. And I worked out of a storage unit for 6 months. And then I got a new location up in Round Rock because it was like closer to home. I don't have to drive all the way. And if I have to drive to see a customer, I will drive to see a customer, no problem.
Gotcha.
So that was the idea. So and then we moved. So that's what happened to us. My cousin and my uncle, the founders of the company, they decided to that they had enough, and that's the other thing that happened. And they was like, okay, so I'm going to be on my own now. So since 2020 March 15th, Balarini Floors is just my venture.
Okay. Awesome.
I'm not the founder. I'm the founder of the name Balarini Floors, but I'm not the founder of the LLC. But it's still us.
Yeah.
So now I was the face of the business since I got here. So nothing really changed much.
Gotcha. So tell me a little bit, because I was reading your bio. Tell me a little bit before you went into business. Your marketing vision and operational excellence. I believe you what was your career prior to that?
Okay, I did computer science.
Okay.
So I finished university in 1999 as a computer scientist, and I worked for some big companies like IBM, a bank. There was part of the AIG group in Brazil. Another bank over there, which is the second or the first largest. I mean, they go back and forth, like the first or second largest, depending on if they buy another bank. One of the biggest banks in Brazil as well, in the software part of the business. And then I decided to move to UK, so I moved to UK, lived for 7 years in UK. Working first, I went just to learn English, but then we decided to stay because I have Italian citizenship. So at the time, UK was still part of the European Union, and they did not have the Brexit yet. So at that time, like 7 years in UK, I was 6.5 years of that. I worked for Jaguar Land Rover, the car company. Yep. So we're doing software distribution for them and the sales system as well. The ordering system. So the system that the dealers use to order the cars.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Not the website and just the internal system. But yeah, that's what I did. And then in 2012, end of 2011. I bought a portion of a flooring company that my cousin that owns the factory, a flooring factory, was running as a side business, doing vinyl planks and laminate floor. And then so I bought a portion of that business to go and run the commercial side of the business, like all the sales and whatnot. So, and then that's how I got into the flooring business, even though it's a family thing, because, we talked about wood in the breakfast,
Yeah.
But yeah, I did computer science. That's what I did before.
Okay, yeah, and that was my next question, is what got you into, besides the family business, but then how you ended up in Austin, how was it chosen to?
Yeah, I went back to Brazil in 2012, let's say January 2012, and so I'm running this flooring business, and one of the partners, again, in the end of the day, it's the entity's fault, right? So one of the partners that we had, that he wasn't he was into business. He understood a lot about business, but not about flooring itself.
Gotcha.
So he went to China and changed our supplier. So, and because of the planning in sales that I was doing, I was very aggressive because of distribution, right? So I was selling, inventory, selling stock to different retailers, right, and dealers. And then I was I placed 25 or 26 container orders. But the first few containers that arrived, there was one, our hot seller product was defective.
Oh.
So yeah, and then so we lost a lot of money because the way the Brazilian government runs things in Brazil, it makes it really difficult to inspect a container before it actually internalizes the container and you pay all the taxes, right? So you cannot like say, I don't want it, you take back, and then it would be easier if we did that and lose the money, before we internalize everything. Because and then you cannot return it anymore.
Gotcha.
Because before then, it's still the supplier's responsibility if we say your product is not okay to get into the Brazilian market because it's defective, right? So we ended up having to internalize, buy, and of course the guy negotiated with the supplier a discount and whatnot, but still, that company ended up not going, through anymore. So, and then we had to shut that operation, and then I started and that was like it all happened in 2012. So, and then in 2013, I started my own distribution. So, okay, I'm buying lumber, from the mill, and sending to my cousin to, manufacture the flooring for me, and putting boxes and whatnot. And then I was doing the same thing, but now with limited resources and money. So that way, I couldn't, exponentially grow. So it was like a slow growth. And then my uncle saw what I was doing there in 2013 and 14. So that's why he started the business over here in 2014 as distribution, because he wanted to do the same thing that I was doing over here.
Okay.
So, but yeah.
Yeah, and every industry product service has its niche. So can you tell me a little bit more of the specific, floors that you?
We basically do everything. So my my catchphrase is, if you step on it, we do it. So we do all types of flooring.
Yeah.
But homeowners, of course, is a great type of customer. But interior designers and custom home builders, they're wonderful.
Gotcha.
Because it's repeat business.
Yes.
So interior designers, because they are dealing with a customer that is renovating. So in that sense, it's the same as having the homeowner that's doing renovation in the house. And a custom home builder or a spec home builder, it's great because they're normally doing 1, 2, maybe even 4 houses at the same time. And you don't get one sale, you get 4. But then 2 or 3 months later, you get another 2 or 3 or 4. Gotcha. So because everything is based on relationship, in our business, and one of our core values is, relationship. Yeah. So we focus on that, like creating that long-lasting relationship with, customers like that. So that's why interior designers and home builders are a wonderful customer for us.
Okay, that's great. And you've been fortunate enough that you get that referral and that repeated business and word of mouth.
We have quite a bit of home builders and interior designers. I wouldn't complain if I got more.
Right. Yeah.
Probably we have a little, like between December 20th and January 2nd, we started 11 jobs.
Okay.
And I did it all by myself because the team was having a little time off. And Dylan came, back sooner than that. But, they're having time off. I mean, they need to rest, right?
Yeah.
It's just everything like kind of happened. It's like 11 jobs. It's like a lot for me to handle everything.
Gotcha.
So,
and then what does your typical job site look like? Is it like a complex? Is it new construction home? Is that the key?
It varies. It varies. Yeah. But normally new construction, but we do get now I would say 50-50, like renovation and new construction.
Okay.
Probably. We get a lot of like brand new homes. Like just today, we are, finishing a tile job. So this lady, she bought a house, but she does not like anything that the builder put in because it's production homes. It's not like a spec home or custom home builder. It's a production home builder. So if you don't know, in the US, you have different types of, it's a niche, right? Yeah. So you have track home builders, commercial builders, spec home builders, production builders, developers.
Yep.
That they hire smaller builders, and when I say smaller builders, smaller than them because they're much bigger than any other builder as well. So you get like production homes and developers are like that. So they're limited on what you can upgrade. So the customers sometimes they go like, I don't like, they didn't have anything in the selection that I wanted it. So they put the cheapest one, and then once they close, and they go and rip it all out and then put new stuff in. Okay, so we do that a lot. Like this year, we did at least 9 of those.
Okay. So it's basically like an upgrade. The customer wants to upgrade the floors.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Instead of sometimes because it of course it really depends on what they're trying to find and trying to do. But for example, let's say they do want to upgrade, from the basic tile to a wood floor. And then that upgrade with the builder, with the production home builder, will cost about, let's say, $20,000. They can get that done with a flooring company like mine or other flooring company around, not only mine, but all of them. They would be able to do this exactly the same for about $14,000, $15,000, right? Ripping, the existing floor out, getting the brand new floor in, and then put it in.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Of course, if they really want to go very high end, it might cost them a little bit more. But the builder would not have the very high end to offer them, to start with. So if they go like, okay, I want to spend the same $20,000, right? They would be able to get like a much, much higher end, product flooring in their house.
Okay. I'm going back to the niche. We are a recruiting and staffing headhunting firm, and I guess our niche, because we're minority owned, we're very multicultural. We automatically attract the diverse candidate. For example, in Houston, we're recruiting accountants that are bilingual but very specific. So Vietnamese and English, Chinese and English, and Spanish and English. So, we not pride ourselves. I guess we do pride ourselves, but our niche is that bilingual, diverse candidate. In terms of flooring product, what is that, your specialty?
Okay. Well, because we do everything, our niche is more into the customer side than the product itself.
Okay.
Because we do epoxy, we do vinyl planks, we do tiles, we really do everything. So, of course, my preferred product would be a wood floors. Gotcha. Coming from a wood, flooring business, right? Manufacturing side of things. But, that's what I would say that would be our, best, kind of product that we can handle really well. But our niche is more into the customer type. So is that, B2B relationship, like, with a builder, for example, but with a spec home and custom home builder, because we can make their life a little easier by with the scheduling. But we curate the needs that they have. So if they go like, well, every time we have a flooring company doing our flooring, the painters complain about these, or the electricians complain about these, and it's like, okay, so what do they complain about?
Yeah.
What can we do so that doesn't happen?
Gotcha.
Do you know what I mean? So we go deep into that. So that's why, I don't really have like a specific niche for the type of product.
Okay.
What I have is a type of customer.
Okay.
It doesn't mean that I will not cater for anyone that wants to buy flooring and wants to buy with us. I will,
Yeah.
but our specialized things would be with, a builder that, or an interior designer that needs a selection to be done. Sometimes, I may have told you that story, but we have a great interior designer, and she loves wood floors, and the customers, they always go like, yeah, but why these, why that, and whatnot. And then she was like, Hilton, it's been 2 weeks. I'm back and forth with this customer, and I cannot have him making a selection. And I was like, okay, can I come?
Yeah.
So I take some samples, I go, and like 3 times on the last 5 months, they selected the floor on the spot. And then she was like, how do you do that?
Yeah.
And I was like, there is no question that the customer is going to ask me that I do not know the answer. Because that's what I'm specialized on. I know flooring,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that I know everything, because I don't. But I know more than the customer
Yeah.
does, because the customer will not know everything about flooring.
Yeah.
And then I have the answers for it.
Yeah.
They feel confident that they're selecting the right floor. And then they make a selection, and then for the interior designer. So if you're an interior designer and it needs help, with the selection because the customer is not right, like selecting, the floor, call me.
Okay.
They will select, quickly.
Interesting. I'm going to go backtrack a little bit. You talked about going in with customer one-on-one. So our approach and about product knowledge, because you're the expert, so we're also the experts, right, when it comes to recruiting. For example, today I had a meeting with someone, and sometimes they look at us like a threat to a recruiting department, right, or to the HR, because they're like, well, that's our job, especially HR. And I say, well, no, HR shouldn't necessarily be about recruiting. It should be of like you building the company core values, creating the company culture, talking about retention, creating an atmosphere, and then we're the experts that we would filter those candidates through. So same thing with a recruiter. She told me like, well, I'm the recruiting manager, and then I have a recruiting team. So we never really partnered up with the firm because of that's us that do the recruiting. And I said, well, you're telling me everything that she was telling me, they're doing great, and you probably don't need me, and great if you don't need me. That means you're doing something well. But we can just be an extra hand to recruit and filter. So by the time you get to the candidates, you have less turnover, less no cause, no show, less people that, say yes, but then they don't deliver. Like, for example, we overlook resumes and interview skills. So we really just want the work ethic and see if their personality and they're coachable and they have the fire or they need the opportunity to get with the company, because you can train everything else, right? So when you're saying you are the expert, right? So it was easy for you to just go and educate the customer of what the product is.
But I have situations like that as well. That if general contractors, for example, they go, I don't want to send a customer over there because you do installations and then you're gonna steal the customer from me. And then I go like, if you send the customer over here, I'll help them make a selection. And if they ask me about the installation, and then I'll say, no installation, the general contractor will handle that.
Yeah.
because they have a great team, and you don't have to worry about that. It takes a little while for the general contractor to, test the. I mean, sometimes they go like, okay, so this job, it's a big job. So I'm already making money on renovating the kitchen, the bathrooms, and everything else in the house, and painting the whole house. So the flooring, I'm gonna test the waters with, Balarini Floors. And then they do that, and then the customer will always go like, yeah, but how much is to install? And it's like, well, I don't know how much. I know my price, but you came through a source, which is a referral partner, and I'm helping you to keep you within your budget. And then I know that the flooring that you have to select, it cannot pass $7 a square foot price, for example. But and I know that you are well served with the flooring install, because general contractor A, B, or C is great with that, and I know the work. Sometimes they use us, to do the install. So, do you know what I mean? It's not like I'm not saying the right thing, or just it's like I cannot answer you that question because it could be conflicting to the person that trusted you here with me. And I'm very transparent with that, with the customer. And then they go like, I appreciate that. So, and then I keep them within the budget. And I go like, so if you want a very nice floor, you want to save a little bit of money, you can still select this one because we perform as well as that one, but you save $1 or so. Do you know what I mean? Per feet. So it's, general contractors, they go like, well, I do installations of flooring, because sometimes they get only flooring jobs as well. They're general contractors, so you get any sort of jobs, right? I was like, yeah, I mean, you can do that, but still, you can send the customer over here. I make my money selling the floors, and then you make your money doing the installations, because that's what you do. I mean, if you send them to Home Depot or Lowe's or the flooring, dealers that do not do an installation, are you going to make any money? They go like, no. Because they go buy the materials like the same. Send them over here, a person that you like and trust. And then it doesn't seem that they trust very well, but then they try, and then I treat it that way, and then every single time after that, they keep on sending customers to me.
Yeah, it goes back to the core values, the transparency and the exception of customer service. I'm not going to say what industry was, because I want to age myself, but I had a scenario with a customer where sales is that just the there's not a silver pitch. I'm sorry, there's not a pitch or a perfect pitch. I don't believe there's to have the silver tongue. I'm an ESL kid, which is English second language, so I speak Spanish the same as I speak English, not very proper. But so I never believed in stuff like that. And I remember a customer coming into me, and I could tell that I had to slow down a little bit further than normal, because I'm high energy. So I know I needed to slow down a little bit more. I know that customer was going to want to walk away to think about the product, sleep overnight or whatever, right? And in sales academies, they teach you like, don't put that customer on the big back bus. You don't want that. You want to ABC. You always want to be close that sale today, right? But I trusted my God, and I let the customer go. He calls me back the next day, like, hey, I went and shop at your competitor. I saw that I can get the product for better price. I compare the other services that you have. You have a better service based on this, and that. One I can finance, one I have to pay it up front, all the good stuff. And all I said, well, this is what I can do for you. I can't compete with the price. They're much bigger than us. They buy in bulk. I'm sorry, it is what it is. So, but this is what I can do for you. And before I even finished that, he's like, can you just give me like an employee pricing on the other stuff? And I say, sure can, and so the customer in all reality overpaid for the product and service because of the service he's being provided, you know? So customers are willing to pay more for, I mean, I'm a consumer, so I'm willing to pay more for that exceptional customer service and the great product. And like you said, answering the phone call after that, if I can call you and ask you little thing, you know, something little minimal of this, and you're willing to pick up the phone, why wouldn't I pay for that, you know?
My business cards is done with a good friend of mine, Cody, and he is more expensive than if I go to a website and then order the business card.
Vistaprint. Yeah.
And I can order potentially with the same texture, with the same size, with the same look and feel, right? But I order with Cody because I know that he's got the great quality, and if something is not done correctly, he's going to redo it. It's the customer service. And not only that, he will be like, hey, Hilton, why don't you put this information on your business card as well? So I think that's true. I mean, not everything I do that, because sometimes we do want to have the best deal. Yeah. Right?
Within budget, yeah.
Yeah, but, you know, sales 101, when people go, well, you have to be closing at all times. And every time that I try to push a sale, I never closed. And every time that I said, we'll do it in your time, you know, I'm not going anywhere, and I'm going to be here for when you're ready. Yeah. I close the sale.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's all about just the consistency. You know, you're not changing your core values, your beliefs, treating the customer the same way. Golden rule, the way probably you want to be treated, if not better, right? And then today you'll close something from 6 months ago or 8 months ago, or a referral.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. I mean, flooring is always like that.
Yeah.
There's nothing. I mean, I'm thinking about renovating my house. Yeah. Like, okay, so have you bought the house yet? Well, I'm looking at one. So like, okay, so you're thinking about renovating a house that you haven't even bought yet. Yeah. So, but yes, that happens a lot. Actually, that is only when somebody, flooring sales only happen like quickly when they, okay, I need to get the house sold in 2 or 3 months time. And that is going to happen, you know, it's going to happen quickly. Yeah. Because after flooring, there's a lot of the things that has to happen in the house, and, you know, cleaning and whatnot, and then putting it on the market, and then, you know, 1 or 2 months, you know, in the market to be able to sell. So it does not happen fast in flooring. You know what I mean? It just doesn't. Yeah. It takes a long time. Yeah. You know, from the moment that you start building a house to the moment that floors goes in, if all of the permits are approved, it takes 7-8 months. If it is a small house. If it is a custom home, like fancy stuff and things, it might take a year and a half.
Gotcha. Okay. So. Awesome. And then how was 2024 for you?
Was up and downs. Yeah. We had the worst start of the year ever. It was really tough. I almost thought that we were going to go out of business. And then it started to pick up a bit. And then the middle of the year, like July, we had a great month, one of the best months we ever had. And then we went back down again. And every time that I don't like talking about politics and whatnot, but, you know, every time that was like, okay, continuation of the government, it would slow down, and every time it was like it's going to be a renew of the government. Yeah. A new party would come in, and then, you know, people would, you know, buy. Yeah. So we had that the whole year. So then after election was done, everybody, you know, decided to renovate. Yeah. I mean, the happy people said, I'm happy. Yeah. It's going to be great. Future is great. Let's renovate. Yeah. Sad people is like, well, I'm sad. So what do I do? I'm going to renovate. Feel better. So. Yeah.
You know, it's funny that we get divided into politics, especially this country. But at the end of the day, whoever's in office, you're still going to do something, right? So they're still going to renovate whether which party won.
I don't know why they waited it.
Yeah.
But
But
they both decided, to renovate.
yeah.
And I don't take sides in politics because I don't like it very much. It's just my perception that happened in 2024. It was like that. It was up and downs a lot. We had a great December, by the way.
Oh, that's good.
A beat July,
Yeah, and I
not
asked,
by a mile, but it beat July by a big time.
wow,
I mean,
okay.
having 11 jobs starting from 20th to, so
7th,
it's just, it was really great December. So we had a really great
yeah,
month.
that's good. Yeah. Yeah. And the reason I asked for that is we had a humbling year when it comes to recruiting and staffing, and Austin is still an investment year one. Hopefully we turn it over right now, and it's starting to pick up. I had some meetings lined up, but I had a customer who's in the manufacturing, a production and distribution for wood doors, sides, body side moldings, and windows, and they slowed down tremendously. And all we keep hearing is it's election year. We're waiting to see what change. Interest rates are high. We're gonna slow down until something happens, and then seems like it's picking up.
This year combination, last year combination of interest rates and election, it was tough.
Yeah.
The previous election was kind of funny, but it wasn't as tough as this last year.
Yeah,
last year was really complicated. But we survived and we're here.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
Future's bright. We can always, another part of my core value is optimism. I always look at the glass, half full.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
with potential to get even fuller. So I don't think that we have to beat ourselves too much, and we have to be happy what we got and thrive and conquer to get more.
Yeah, I think positive mindset's good. I've been fortunate enough to always kind of be like a happy person, optimistic, high energy. Look at the good side. I tend to rough things off my shoulder that I can't control. Right. With that being said, obviously, like you said, it was a tough year. You're a family man. You have 2 kids.
I have 2 daughters. Yeah.
2 daughters. Okay. Obviously a wife, a business. What keeps you, besides the positive side of things and the optimistic, what else is it that keeps you kind of like in a good state of mind to keep pushing through?
It's a good question. As I said, I'm normally happy with the things that I have, or with the state that I am. So it's like if you try too much, you're never gonna be, comfortable with what you have. I think it's a matter of keeping yourself, feet on the ground, looking, how you can grow. And, I love, October, because of the pumpkin patches and whatnot, like that. Yeah. Halloween theme and stuff. I love taking the girls out, taking them to the park and then play. It keeps me going, you know. And I like conversations in general. So I also have a podcast that we just like smoke cigars and drink some sort of drink and have a conversation. It's like a bar conversation kind of thing. It's not like very deep, conversation, but that also eases off pressure and whatnot, because running a business is stressful. You have to think of not only your family, but the family of everybody that is with you, and the family of every single subcontractors that we use, because all of our subcontractors, I know them by name. I have their phone numbers, and we talk. I speak, 3 fluent languages, which is Portuguese, Spanish, and English, and I also speak a little bit of Italian.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's like I talk to them, and I know and when they're having family issues, and I'm like, okay, so let's not start this job on this date, and I'll talk to my customer. Don't worry about it. Now, other people, they will not do that. They if just a manager is not, I don't know, it could be, but I think it's down to the person. But all the companies, they go like, I don't care what goes in your life.
Yeah.
I want this job done.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
I talk to my customer and say, hey, life has just happened to my subcontractor. Can we push it a little bit? Let's start it tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. When you are like that with your customers, they go like, I appreciate you doing that for them. And then yes, it's okay. Not a problem at all. And so it's tough because you have to think of the families of your customers as well.
Yeah.
Because I also have the other ways like, man, we got to get this done because, and I do that with them as well. I was like, look, we got to get this done in 2 days because they have to send a cleaner on the 3rd day because they need to move in on the 4th day. I know that's too much to ask, but can we bring in 2 or 3 more helpers to get these 3 or 4 days job completed in 2 days? Can we run long hours? And my team will say, Hilton, it's for you. We'll do it. It doesn't matter. So I have the same thing. It's like with my customers and with my subcontractors, they will go that extra mile just because, that's what it is. So yeah, that's running a business to me. And I wish I had somebody that, does all of the finances and all of that so that I don't have to do that and just concentrate in people because I'm a people's person.
Yeah,
so.
I can tell that. Yeah. I think you're the one who told me that sometimes you like to start projects maybe like not necessarily Monday.
Yeah,
right?
I don't start on Mondays. I try not to. And even though yesterday, we're recording on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
So yesterday and Monday, we had 3 projects
Oh, wow. Okay.
starting. But I do not like starting on Mondays just because Monday is a complicated day. Everybody thinks that starting on a Monday is the best, but it's not. I keep my Mondays open.
Gotcha.
Because I may have a delivery coming that, the truck drivers drove through the weekend. Or I have, wrapping up a project. Or I have a customer that wants to look at, some flooring. They want to look because they're also thinking about, okay, so I'm going to go and do that on Monday because then I do the selections on Monday and then, my week is already sorted, right?
Yeah.
So if I start jobs on Monday, it makes it difficult, right? For all of the other things to fall in place. So I prefer starting jobs on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, and even Fridays. Not a problem at all.
Yeah.
Because Mondays, it's a good day to keep you free for life, to happen.
Gotcha.
Maybe that, my subcontractors got a little bit too happy and then drank a little bit too much during the weekend. And there's like, they don't show up on a Monday, you know. But not only that, I realized that Mondays were like my busiest, days every time. And then I just made the decisions like no job starting on Monday if we can.
Yeah.
Not to start on Mondays. Just because of that. I mean, and then now we still have jobs happening on a Monday, but it's not starting. It doesn't need me to be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because on the start of the first day of the job, I'm normally there. Imagine I started 3 jobs on a Monday. How am I in 3 places at the same time?
Yeah.
So I went to 2, and then the other one, my installer took care of it, by himself without me there. So
yeah, gotcha. Yeah, and well-rounded guy you are. Like I said, I'm very picky when I bring people to the podcast because I want some true core values, and you have a very well-rounded family man, business owner, been to the trenches on the business. One thing I always keep in mind is like a different perspective, and I like intro for reading. I like books that are introspective. Sorry. I'm an extrovert, not an introvert. But introspective reading that is going to give me like a different perception into things. I know family is important for you. During Halloween, you like that season. But what else do you do to, get a different perspective in life, or keep learning? I know it's easy to learn from not easy to learn from mistakes, but I know those are the best lessons, learning from mistakes. But
the hardest,
but the hard, yeah, there you go. Yeah. So what else do you do to keep you sane, I guess you should say?
Well, apart from like smoking a cigar every now and again, I'm just a simple person. I take responsibilities of the mistakes I make, and I take responsibilities of whatever actions. I do like reading. Right now I'm reading Profit First, and a book. But I like barbecuing,
Oh, okay, yeah.
I like, grilling some steaks and whatnot.
In the right state for that, city for that, yeah.
Yeah, I like, watching races. Anything car related, I like it a lot.
Formula One.
Formula One.
Okay.
I'm big into that. Yes. I'm very involved with, racing in general.
Okay.
I started racing when I was like 14 years old. I don't race right now.
Okay.
Because it's expensive to race in the US, even more.
Yeah.
If this year goes well, I maybe get back into doing some karting races. And whatnot. I love that. So.
Interesting. Yeah.
I don't go to the gym. I don't like going to the gym.
Yeah.
I'd love to play squash. I like playing squash. I might get myself into a pickleball tournament. January 25th now.
It's very trendy right now. Very popular in Austin too.
There's a little tournament. I think I played pickleball once without knowing the rules.
Okay. Same. Yeah.
But I have a friend. You might know Jake.
Jake. Okay.
He's doing a pickleball tournament on January 25th. I might be able to join that. He sent an email today actually, so that reminded me. But yeah, I mean, I should do a little bit more exercise and stuff. I don't. I have to, but I don't. But these kind of things, I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I smoke a cigar and then I have a podcast.
Enjoy life, and simple. I like that. Yeah. I'm a little overweight right now, so the camera is not helping. But I go to the gym so I can eat, because I do love to eat, enjoy food and all the good stuff. So, well, for any young, entrepreneurs, whether it's in the industry or anybody that wants to be an entrepreneur, any tips that you can give them? Any maybe your top two golden tips that were very important for you, I guess, and maybe that you learned from those.
Okay. Sometimes we see, people talking and go like, great question. And then every single question is like, great question. Right? So everything is a great question. It's a really good question. It's very simple. Don't be afraid of work. Because if you go like, okay, I want to start a business, and then you think it's going to be less work, it's not.
Yeah.
So you cannot be afraid of work, and always trust the process. Always trust that if you are putting the work and it's the right work, trust that. And if you can afford, get a mentor or a coach, because that helps a lot. Having somebody that will be able to help you identify the best of you for what you want to do. Or some people think like, oh, I'm going to hire a coach because it's going to tell me what to do. No. The good coach will help you find what you are the very best version of yourself.
Yeah. Good.
And at what you can do.
Okay.
Because I think that would be it. You know what I mean? It's like, that's it.
Okay, awesome.
And put in the work. You've got to put in the work.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, audience, if you want to connect with Hilton, how can people connect with you? Whether it's customers, a podcast collaboration, and I know you're big into networking as well. How can people get a hold of you and your website?
Yeah, I'm always networking. And my Balarini Floors. .com, the website. You can find me Hilton Kill, with Hilton like the hotel, and Kill like help you meet God sooner. I'm Hilton Kill. You can find me on Instagram,
LinkedIn,
Facebook,
okay.
LinkedIn. LinkedIn will be, it has my full name, Hilton Scandian Kill, and
okay.
Facebook as well. But if you type in Hilton Kill, probably
pop up
it's gonna pop me up there. But all of the these social media networks and stuff, I'll be there.
Awesome. Well, it's been a pleasure. Appreciate the time. I'll see you the next BXN, and hopefully I'll get to learn more about your podcast as well. So
sound good. Yeah. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah,
Appreciate
it. Thank you, guys.